All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm not dead. It's been about 2 weeks since I made a video. I've just been busy traveling across the country, all over the place. But today we're gonna go over my top knives for 2025. And these are gonna be in 3 categories. First category is gonna be EDC. The second category is gonna be survival or bug out bag knives. And the final category is gonna be my #1 pick for a bushcraft knife to move into 2025. So if you're looking for something to move on for the next year or, just change things up. Now, these aren't gonna be all brand new knives. Some of these knives have been out for like a decade, 20 years. I don't know. They've been out for a long time. But this is just gonna be my top pick for overall knives for 2025 and kind of my favorites and what I use them for. So let's jump into it. All right, so this knife is probably one of the biggest, beefiest EDC knives I've ever owned, I've ever carried. I've used a lot of them, but this is just a really good knife for, whether you want something for self-defense, whether you want something for, just to carry backpacking. Honestly, I would take this knife if I just wanted a knife to carry backpacking and I was, hell-bent on having a folding knife. I would say this is a good contender for an ultralight backpacking knife, and that is the Spyderco Shaman. This is a very big blade knife. You can pick these up for around $250, $300 to fluctuate. I carry this knife for a long time for EDC. It's just a really good beefy knife. It's got a choil up here so you can get up on it, and do some fine work. It would be good for a self-defense application. And everybody loves fidgeting with the Spyder hole for quick deploy. Be careful, there are a lot. Now, I mean a lot of fake Chinese knockoff scam knives for this knife out there just because it's so expensive. Make sure you get a really good one from a reputable dealer. I bought this from DLT. I think it's DLT Trading is what I got this. I've had it for like 2 or 3 years now. Just a really dependable, heavy duty folding knife. Great for EDC, but still, a very capable knife. I could do bushcraft with this knife. Light bushcraft, not ideal, but a great choice. All right, so the next knife for EDC, and this is an old knife. And honestly, I've had this knife for probably, 10, 15 years now. This is the Leatherman Juice. They don't even make them anymore. You can get this like on the secondhand market. Just a really great Leatherman. You got all your tools. I'm not going to bore you. You got screwdriver bits. You got all kinds of multiple tools. They have different styles with different mix match stuff on there. I like it because it has scissors on it. It's got a decent little knife if you want something just for EDC. Yeah, I know they don't make them anymore. You can still pick them up on eBay for around $100. The markup on them is pretty high because, obviously this is like a 10-plus-year-old knife. But honestly, I carry this thing from time to time. The Leatherman Juice is just a really quality little EDC knife. So, yeah. So what is my #1 pick for an EDC knife? Now, not only is this knife very sentimental to me because my wife bought it for me for an anniversary gift when we were living in Oregon, and I've had it ever since then. I've had this knife, for 9 years now, and it's been around for a long time, and that is the OG Benchmade 940 Osborne. It's been out for a long time. I think who really made this knife popular is Wrangler Star, honestly. He had this knife. I think he still carries it off and on. He has Spyderco, I think paramilitary, one of those is what he carried for a while, but he's raved about how great this knife is. I've had mine for a decade. Like I said, one of my favorite. I still love carrying this thing. I even put it in a safe and I'm not using it because it was an anniversary gift from my wife. And, absolutely still love this. I've carried this, for a long time. And as you can see, it's got a little wear on the clip on there, but it still looks great. Fun to fidget with. You got the access lock. Just a great knife and probably my #1 EDC knife. And I've never found a knife that is so handy, so nimble. And when I mean nimble, it's just so light in the hand for doing stuff. It weighs almost nothing. A lot of people, they complain they've lost these. Wrangler Star rants about saying he's lost numerous ones. I've never lost mine, but absolutely love it. And, we'll never be getting rid of it just because it's a great knife and it's very sentimental to me because my wife got it. All right, so we're going to move on to bug out bag or survival knives. Now, I don't consider survival knives and bushcraft knives in the same category. For me, a survival knife is something that you can use as a tool. You can use for hunting, self-defense. You can use it for it's a rough and rowdy knife, very sturdy, dependable, who knows, prime, whatever, something, a doomsday knife. So I have 2, and these knives And these aren't just knives that I'm, getting a kickback on or something promoting. These are knives that live in my bug out bag. One of these knives I take with me when I travel in my emergency kit, when I carry it all over the country. And the first one I'm going to talk about is just the smaller one. This is the Architect Field Buddy. You can get this from, I think it's the Knife Connection is where you get them. You can have them ordered, custom scales, whatever you want, liners, green G10 handles on it. This is just a really good, it's got a grooved pommel on there. It's got a choil to choke up on it, jimping on here. Just a good overall survival knife. I've made a video on this before, and just a great knife. This is what I carry in my bug out bag for survival, and I've added on to this because I've changed a few things up, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but this is great. This is the 6.5 inch knife blade Field Buddy, but just wonderful. I got this custom knife sheath for it, and because I wanted something that would lock, this has a locking little toggle on here to where it's not going to come out if you want to clip it on a backpack for like a bug out bag, knife belt. And the other thing too is, since it's a bug out bag, I need stuff to happen quickly. If I need to bug out, if I need to get a knife and put on, I didn't want to fidget with my belt. So I went for, they are a little flimsier, but I did go for the metal belt clip. It's worked fine, tested it out in the field, but it's just a great overall survival knife. Now, in my bug out bag before, I carried a saw and a hatchet and some other stuff. I ditched that, I refined it. It's just too heavy, too much crap. And so this is I came to the realization I wanted something big that I can use as a defensive weapon as well as a primary tool. So I still have a silky big boy, or I kind of rotate back and forth, pocket boy saw. But for my bug out bag and moving forward, I think this is a knife that's been out for a while, but I think you guys really should take a second look at it, because I did. I dismissed this knife for a long time until I actually got my hands on it and messed with it. And that is the ESEE Junglas. It's spelled, some people say Junglas, but it's actually pronounced Junglas. This is the original one. A big, beefy knife. It's not a machete. It's very thick, too thick, at least for me, what I would consider a machete. I got some custom micarta scales for it. Just a big knife, great for chopping. Just a really good tool knife. And honestly, this thing's big enough. You could use it in a defense situation. Whatever you stick with this is not going to get up. So, realistically, just a really good tool. And this lives in my bug out bag, and just for making shelter. If I needed to make shelter, I can use this with the saw, make whatever I need as far as emergency preparedness. But definitely a knife I would say I overlooked for a long time, but you guys should definitely check it out. And then I got a custom Kydex sheath for it, where it's just easy, like on the Architect Field Buddy. I can take it on and off stuff easy because it's a bug out bag and you want quick access to stuff. But yeah, overall, a great bug out bag tool, and I would definitely suggest for 2025, go take a look at it. All right, so we're gonna move into the final category and my top pick for bushcraft knives for 2025. I've used these knives throughout the year. The later part of the year, I got one of these knives, but they're my go-to knives. I absolutely love them. I did have one of these before, and I sold it, and I just rebought it because I missed it so much. I sold it, and then like 2 months later, I was like, I shouldn't have sold it. So this one's almost brand new at this point. But that is the Condor Hudson Bay knife. And it's a really good knife for bushcraft. Some may say it's a little bit too big, but I like it for chopping and cutting and doing stuff like that. If you guys are long-term subscribers, you know I do a lot of wax canvas tent camping, backpacking, hot tent camping with wood burning stoves. This knife is just really good because I love batoning with it. Baton's really good for smaller branches and stuff like that to put in my wood stoves, especially my little small one Tigris stove. So it's just a really good knife. They're not expensive. They're like 75 bucks. They have really cool heritage. 1075, decent enough steel. Sometimes they have a tendency to roll. On this pattern, I've never really had any roll really bad. Just batoning through soft like spruce and cedar stuff where I go up in the mountains and high alpine. I think you might want to be more careful with hardwoods like oak and stuff like that. But overall, it's a good, comfortable knife. Just a great little camp knife, kind of like a cleaver. But yeah, definitely a knife I think everybody should get for 2025. I love this thing. Shouldn't have sold the other one, but it's great for batoning and making fires. So yeah, nice Condor sheath, you know, little kind of a dangler thing on here. What more do you want? All right, so finally for the big finale is my absolute favorite bushcraft knife that I have now. I just love this thing to death. I use it all the time. Love the thing. Can't wait to use it some more this winter, going on some more trips. And that is the Adventure Sworn Classic Camp Lore kind of design knife. You know, I've had this for a few months. Haven't got to use it as much as I would like to, but I've made a few videos on just an awesome knife. I love, you know, white handle knives. They're my absolute favorite. I mean, this knife melts in your hand, comfortable, sharp spine. I've never, honestly, my entire life, I've hated Coke bottle style handles, but this one is so just phenomenal and comfortable. I love it. I've never had a Coke bottle style handle that I was in love with. You know, great knife, great custom sheath. You know, you can pick this up for around $300, $320, $340. Just wonderful quality on this, an heirloom knife that you're just gonna pass down to your kids. Just absolutely great. You know, you can baton with it. You know, it's a good size. I would take this backpacking. Honestly, if I was doing stuff around the house and, you know, had a small farm or something like that, it would work good just for a companion hip knife for stuff. But absolutely wonderful. You can get a dangler on it and a loop. I like the more, you know, just simplistic style sheath. That's kind of what I like. But yeah, overall, absolutely great. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this information entertaining or enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe for more content. Have some more videos coming out. Looking forward to doing some collaboration with some other YouTubers in my area coming up soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And always be safe out there and leave the great outdoors better than the way you found it. And we will see you on the next video. Stay safe.